Hi, this is Laura Ledford, and this week's movie was Lars and the Real Girl. Let's get started with the analysis. Now, the movie Lars and the Real Girl, on the surface, it's about a delusional guy who orders a plastic sex doll on the internet, who he pretends he is in a relationship with and is actually a real person. But of course, Lars and the Real Girl, of course, isn't actually about all this. It has underlying subplots, themes, and parables, which we will attempt to discuss. Now, looking at the character of Lars, he is certainly sweet and tender, introverted and shy. He has a childlike innocence about him. He lives in his parents' house, or rather it's referred to as the garage of his brothers that was handed down from his parents. And from the surface, he looks reasonably stable. On a deeper look, however, he never really grew up. Lars holds a job, and every day he goes to work in a suit and a tie. There's nothing really glaringly wrong with Lars as the movie starts out. He functions. He's a bit of a loner and an oddball, but he doesn't seem to be particularly too off. But however, we get the impression that he never really grew up. If we look at all of his character qualities, they all resemble that of a child. Now, if we take a look, Lars definitely has an inner turmoil boiling. He has certainly never been properly loved. His father was emotionally distant, and his mother died in childbirth. His brother left the nest early and didn't think about his brother and what effects it would have on him, just because he was so concerned about getting out. And consequently, he can't probably connect to people. He has no friends, no real friends or confidants that are close to him. And even more interesting, he's actually repulsed by physical touch, just because he's been denied it for so long. Any kind of physical touch actually hurts him. Now, my view on all this is that the huge main cause of Lars's inner turmoil is that he has this broken inner child, and the community recognizes this, and they come together to heal Lars, and they consequently heal themselves. And of course, the symbol of this brokenness, I would have to say, is the baby blanket that Lars clings to, because it is his source of security, and it was the one thing that his mother made herself for him. And he is symbolically clinging on to his mother, the mother he never really knew. And he even offers it to Karen at one point, a soon-to-be mother. And I think that he connects Karen with his own mother, and which is one of the reasons he's scared to get close to her, because he's afraid she'll die in childbirth as well. Now, Lars's relationship with women, or lack thereof, is very interesting. First, we have Bianca, who is a sex doll ordered offline. She's conveniently handicapped, so that Lars is forced to assist her in connecting with others through, talking for her or taking her places. And he certainly projects his problems onto her. But I think that Lars uses Bianca as a bit of a crutch, and he uses her as a device to connect to other people. But Bianca is also his only connection he's ever had with any other quote-unquote person. So that's something that we see Lars explore with throughout the movie, as he finally gets to be close to someone who isn't going to reject him or die or anything like that. And then we also have Karen, a soon-to-be mother, and it is his brother's wife. Karen is interestingly always trying to hug him, or show him affection, which he so desperately needs, but he's just afraid of physical contact and doesn't want to get close to somebody. She's also a mother figure, and Lars often projects anger or resentment onto her and ignores her often. And like I said earlier, with the baby blanket, he's scared to get close to her because I think he assumes she'll die in childbirth, or is afraid of that anyway. And the third woman is Margot, who is a co-worker of his, and Margot definitely has a bit of a crush on Lars. He connects, or Margot connects with Lars through her own sort of Bianca, which is a teddy bear, and Margot gains empathy for Lars when he helps resuscitate the teddy bear. And Margot certainly looks at him in a new light and identifies with him, which later plays a role in their developing relationship. And then, of course, we have the doctor, who Lars had brought Bianca to the doctor to fix her, but he really goes to fix himself. And the doctor convinces Lars that Bianca needs treatments every week, while simultaneously counseling him at the same time. What's important about Lars' doctor is that she doesn't treat him like he's crazy. She says, and he ends up confiding in her that, he only wants to be normal. Continuing on. Okay. Let's see. Talking about the community. It's a very big topic this week. The entire community in Lars' town ends up coming together to heal Lars. And personally, it's a testament to the possibility of love, kindness, and hospitality possible within the human spirit. And the community is responsible for getting Lars actually involved and out in public. And because Lars needs to physically assist Bianca, the community uses this to their advantage. To get Lars involved for doing things with Bianca. And there are two things which relate to the sense of community. First, there is the law of connection from our reading with Maxwell, and Maxwell is quoted in saying that the tougher the challenge, the greater the connection. And getting Lars to overcome this delusion is a tough challenge that the entire community, bands together to help heal Lars. And then number two, there is citizenship, the quality of citizenship in Shankman. Shankman says, he talks about being a good citizen in your community, and, so many of the citizens, turn over a new leaf and really begin to portray good citizenship, and perform acts of selflessness in order to help Lars come out of his shell, overcome this delusion, and help Bianca to help Lars. Now, as far as subplots of the film, it's all about healing the broken fragments inside ourselves, and in terms of what the community can do to help heal each other. Lars is finally able to let go of Bianca and doesn't need that crutch anymore to connect to people. When she ends up dying, and let's see. Another one of the subplots is the maturity, and is in terms of maturity and growing up. Lars talks about how he brings up at one point in the film how there are a lack of rite of passages in American society. And he asks his brother, is it sex? What is it? And it's just a very good question to think about, just because so many young adolescents just feel thrust into adulthood without any rite of passage or feeling like they transitioned properly. And Lars is sort of this feeling with the volume turned up, so to speak. The final ending scene, Lars suggests to Margot that they catch up with the others. And this is definitely a double entendre meaning in catch up, because, you know, they're catching up to everyone else who was walking away from the funeral, but what I think Lars really means is that he needs to catch up to, both he and Margot need to catch up to everyone else in terms of maturity and not being scared to let go of their past issues. Bianca ends up dying when Lars feels ready to continue making connections with others on his own. And you know, Lars had never been intimate with another woman, and you know, we get a glimpse at the end of this film that maybe Margot is the one to take him on that journey of finally being able to intimately connect with another person, and, you know, have that real connection. Maybe he can truly heal and let go of his past intimacy issues. And, you know, throughout this movie, we just see qualities and topics of citizenship, community, empathy, and leadership through the community as a whole in the movie Lars and the Real Girl. That's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.